Many years ago, I used to work night shift at a hotel in Myrtle Beach in South Carolina. During the season, it wasn't so bad, mostly families and stuff. We had on-site security then too. However, in the off-season, the winter months were different. The cheap weekly rates we'd offer attracted a lot of creepy people. The idea was to make money in the off-season by renting to what is known as snowbirds, older retired people who came to the beach for a month or more through the winter. It did not always work out that way though. The cheap rates made it impossible for a less than desirable element to become long-term residents. I've discovered more than my fair share of meth labs, broken up physical assaults, and more during the winter months. Working third shift, I would meet some interesting people. The cold weather would mean some homeless people would come in and get warm and grab a cup of free coffee. I wasn't supposed to let them, but it's not in me to be cruel. I would let them grab a coffee and get warm for a minute, as long as they didn't cause any trouble. As you can see, night shifts in the winter made for some crazy and sometimes creepy stories. I have a lot, but this one is the one that stands out because it didn't end well for me. I had a great night up to this point. I had gone to an indie wrestling show with my best friend before work. In fact, I had agreed to come in an hour early the next night for the young lady that worked second shift in exchange for her working an hour late for me on this night so I can enjoy the wrestling show. Ironically enough, I met Terry Funk that night, a wrestling legend known for his hardcore and bloody matches. Little did I know, I was about to experience this kind of violence for real. I was supposed to be there at midnight due to her working over an hour for me. I normally came in at 11 p.m. As she was leaving, my friend, we'll call him Andrew, pulled up. He works second shift maintenance at this hotel, and the other two hotels are company owned. He will regularly stop by after work and grab us some food, and we would play World of Warcraft on our laptops after eating for a while since business was so slow. He was just getting my money, an order for food, and getting ready to leave. I was excited to tell him about how much fun I had at the wrestling show and was showing him my Terry Funk t-shirt I was so proud of. I was just walking into the back office to put the shirt up when I heard the doorbell indicating a customer had entered. It is true what they say, ask not for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. I turned around when I heard someone say something loudly, but I still couldn't make out what they had said. I just reached the doorway when I saw Andrew fall down in front of me. The next thing I know, a guy walks around the corner, punches me in the head with a short steel pipe in his hand. It staggers me, and I went to one knee. The next thing I know, he hits me in the head with the pipe. Then I hear the other guy, who I hadn't noticed until this moment, say he got away and got a cop. They left out of the door. I was finally able to get to my feet. I tried to call the police from the phone in the back office, but it was having issues. I slammed it in frustration. I was hurting and scared. I was really freaking out. I realized that they could come back, so I ran and locked the door. I didn't know where Andrew had gone, and that worried me. I called 911 at about this time. Blood had started pouring down my head. I told the operator I had been attacked and needed an officer and an ambulance. Then I called the other hotel. We ran to let the night manager named Travis, who was over all three properties, know what had happened. He thought I was messing with him at first, because when we got bored we would prank each other. I finally convinced him I was not joking. He was going to lock up and come down. The cops and ambulance pulled up, and I opened the door. It was at this time I found out after they sucker punched him and knocked him down. Andrew was able to amazingly jump over the desk and escape, just as a cop was driving by, which he ran to flag down for help. I ended up in the ER, where I had to have 10 staples in my scalp, and they gave me morphine for pain. I had no way to get home after being treated, but the doctor and nurses took pity on me and paid for a cab. My plan was to go back to work because this was December and Christmas was coming. I had 3 kids and needed all the hours I could get. When I got back to the hotel, the IT guy Ted was there with his wife Barbara, who also worked at the front desk. She was shocked to see me. She thought I would still be in the hospital. I thought I had only been hit in the head once after being punched. The video which Ted was pulling up for the police showed a different story. After I went to one knee, the guy had hit me not just one time, but 10 total times. I kept trying to grab the pipe and get up for some reason. I do not remember that. I guess I was out on my feet. He kept punching me and hitting me with the pipe until his friend tells him Andrew got away and then got the cops. The two of them then ran out. I was given a room at the other hotel we owned, and Ted and Barbara gave me a lift there as I was in no condition to drive due to the morphine. They also gave me a paid week off to heal. They switched me over to the other hotel on night shift for a month, just in case they were after me in particular. We never found out why they chose to attack me. The police thought it might be a failed strong-armed robbery due to Andrew getting away and me not just going down. It shook me up though, not knowing. Even though I was at the other hotel when I came back to work the night shift, I was still nervous. Every time the door chimed, I tensed up. I couldn't afford to quit though. As I said, I had 3 kids I was supporting. They never caught the guys as far as I know. A detective stopped by about 2 months later when I was working second. He showed me several mugshots and asked me if any of them looked familiar. I never got a great look at them, as it all happened so fast. I had seen the video, which wasn't the best quality, so much so that 2 of them looked very familiar like them. I pointed them out, and he asked me how sure I was. I told him honestly like 85%. He then yelled and asked me if I wanted someone to go to jail for attempted murder on 85%. I was stunned into silence. I was the victim. I was attacked for no reason, and he's yelling at me like it's my fault. I was too busy being attacked to get a good look at them. I no longer work at the hotel and night shift, and I'm glad, because it is too dangerous in that area. I work a graveyard shift as a security guard for a recycling yard. I can't say the company for obvious reasons, but basically every hour I make rounds across a giant metal yard covered in various precious metals that are broken down and sold. During my shift, I scan various checkpoints and ensure nobody besides me is in the yard/facility. One of my other tasks is to go through some grassy terrain and over a set of train tracks to take a photo of a warehouse far across. This is to ensure it is safe and clear. I have to use a flashlight with 2K lumens so I can see my way through pretty much the entire yard. Well, just an hour and a half ago on my round, I went through the grass and over some train tracks. I took the picture of the warehouse and submitted it. All of a sudden, I get this intense feeling that I'm being watched. My hairs on my neck stand up and I freeze. My flashlight is still on and pointing at the warehouse. I slowly turn around and point my flashlight behind me. I kid you not, about 10 yards away, I see a skinny old wrinkled white man with a large white beard sitting on a chair. He was looking directly at me. He had dirty jean overalls and what I think was a western style cowboy fedora on. He was bareskinned under the overalls. Now I'm a 6 foot, 220-pound man, but I screamed fuck at a pitch that was embarrassing. Accidentally, I dropped my flashlight out of shock. Mind you, there are thin, tiny metal shards literally everywhere on the ground. I can't see a damn thing now as the flashlight is facing away from my sight. All I hear is quick-paced shuffling and clanging of metal from footsteps quickly running towards me. Once the metal crunching footsteps are within maybe 5 feet of me, I hear them quickly veer to the left and past me. Within 3 to 4 seconds, the metal clanging is gone, followed by the faraway sound of rustling bushes. I then grabbed the flashlight from the ground and pointed to the sound. The old man was gone, past the bushes to who knows where. I was shaking from adrenaline and fear. I managed to catch my breath and called several emergency contacts. When they arrived, the old man was long gone. I believe maybe he was just there to watch the active trains move across. I say this because the metal chair was facing the tracks. It's still there. I took a photo of it, more as a memento if anything. I am now in the office, still terrified and alone. I have to finish my shift tonight, and tomorrow do another 11-hour graveyard. I won't quit as I need the money. I just wanted to get this off my chest. I am a male, and I work at a gas station in the deep south, a part of Louisiana that most people have never even heard of. I'm talking about dirt roads with no name, thick trees that seem to swallow darkness, and you might be lucky enough to see a street light every other mile. The gas station I work at is located in the trifecta of all these elements. I, of course, work the overnight shifts. The gas station doesn't see much excitement. There are either 10 customers that come in between the hours of 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., or the random opossums that decide to make the outside trash cans their personal drums. But I digress. The night started off as any other night. Make sure that the coffee is fresh? Check. Make sure all of the snacks, cold drinks, and beer were all properly stocked? Check. Now all that is left for me to do is wait. I stood behind the counter looking at inventory, listening to music, and just pacing around for the first couple of hours. You know the thing that people say, time flies? Yeah, that didn't apply to this shift. As I got bored, I decided to leave the register and check out the items on the shelf to, make sure nothing magically sold itself. As I was on one of the aisles, I heard a man call out, "Hey, y'all open?" I turned around to see I had two customers standing at the checkout. Now, I should mention, this gas station does not have that fancy security system that makes the door go ding when someone comes in. Top of the line security, right? So I was caught off guard when these two customers had come in without my knowledge. I quickly walked up to the register and apologized for the wait. As we were making the usual conversation of, "Hey, how are you doing?" and "Man, it's dark out here in this area," the customer asked another question that is usually always asked: "How long is it until I get to the city from here?" I answer with the same answer that seems to automatically live in my mind rent free. "It's a good couple of hours from here. Just go towards the lights." Corny, I know, but that's my thing. Anyway, after scanning the customer's items, which literally was a candy bar and a bottle of water, I told them, "Be careful out there, y'all. There's a tornado warning in this area until 7 a.m., and the rain's picking up. In this area, even on the clear night, it's hard to see what's ahead of you on these dark, desolate roads." As I went to look at the second customer, I realized there was no second customer anymore. I chalked it up to the guy not wanting to wait anymore and decided to just leave. I mean, from what I saw, he didn't have any items with him and probably only needed some cigarettes or something that was behind the counter. I told my customer farewell and was ready to grind out the rest of these hours. But just like a sidekick, my own words had foreshadowed my fate for the night. Not long after the customer left, the sky could no longer hold its sorrow and weep gallons of tears from above. Now, to me, this is not a big deal. Bad weather, rains, opossums, yeah, I still have it out for them. Happens a lot in my area. So much so, I call the experience HWA, which stands for humid, wet, and annoying. As the rain and wind picked up, I was starting to feel a little uneasy, mostly because, honestly, I would rather be at my house when the rain and wind decides the battle for dominance. The power lines were no match for the relentless punishment from the elements, and in darkness, silence, aggravation, the power had gone, and there was no backup generator for me. I was just there, standing in a blanket of darkness so thick that it seems to cover everyone in its embrace. I called my manager to let him know that the power had gone out, and also asked him what I should do right now. Of course, with it being so late/early, whatever 4 a.m. means to you, there was no response. I thought about locking up and buckling down at the gas station until the storm passed. I was getting paid after all. But that's when I heard it. Between the thunder, between the rain, between the wind. I heard a slight crunch coming from one of the aisles that were farther away from the entrance of the station. At first I paid no mind to the sound. I believed it to just be store items, shifting with all of the sorrowful weather. Darkness has a way of bending your mind into seeing and hearing things that your mind usually tells you, well, that was just the wind. But after sitting there for a while, I called my manager again. to no avail. Then, right after the light of my phone faded and my eyes were trying to accommodate the darkness, I heard it again. Movement, but this time closer and right in between my phone call and the thunder strike. I've been listening to scary story channels for years, so now I'm on high alert. Someone was in here. I was not alone. I just knew it. I tried to calm my nerves, not wanting to be that guy that overreacts. But I asked myself, can you ever really be too safe? I made a potentially dangerous and thoughtless move. I stood up and yelled, is anybody still in here? I got no response, but that didn't mean that there was no one there. Then I remembered something that I knew all along. There's no ding on the door to let me know when customers enter or exit. That and the thought of that second customer came to mind. I never saw him leave. I just knew that he was there and then gone. I automatically, without a doubt, felt that something was strange. Something was not right. So I did what any gas station worker would do in the pitch black. Pretended to be a ninja so that I could slowly make my way to the source of the noise without being caught. As it turns out, I'm not a ninja. The moment I stepped out from behind the counter that I'd been sitting behind, a voice stopped me in my tracks. Give me what you got, was all that the voice softly spoke to me. I froze, scared, too scared to say a word nor move an inch. When I called out, I wasn't expecting a response. Soon I heard footsteps, slow but getting closer. My mind yelled, do something, run, charge at the sound and hope for the best. After all of that though, I did nothing. Then his face appeared, a face hard to make out in the dark, a face I wouldn't have seen if my manager hadn't called me back at that moment that allowed my phone to light up the second customer. It turns out he never left, pretending not to see, nor knew that I recognized him. Again he repeated, come on, give me what you got now, still in a calm and calculating way. I spoke for the first time after noticing that I was holding my breath the whole time. All I have is $2.50 in the register. He was quiet for a while, but then told me, hand it over. I wish I could say that I pulled out some special move that brought the guy down that allowed me to hold him until the police showed up. But this is real life. I gave him the money, and luckily for me, he accepted it. He knew that police would not be out here in these parks at this time. And with this weather, even if called, it would take at least 30 minutes to get here. A local, I assume, had to be so confident. I talked to the manager and police after all was said and done. My manager apologized that I had to go through that, and also was sorry that he didn't answer sooner. I told him no worries, everyone deserves sleep. I got to leave early, and the manager closed the store for a couple of hours until the next employee came in. I was so lost in the trance after the situation that I truly believed that it still couldn't be real. That couldn't have just happened to me. After a couple years working there, and that was that, I thought. A funny plot twist. 2 weeks later, a man was caught trying to hold up a gas station close to where my job was located. A man that I remembered from that flash of light on my phone. The only difference is, he didn't get away this time. The thing that I could really say that I've learned from all of this, no matter how comfortable or how much you think you know how each day will play out, always, always be on guard.